Chocolate pie crust is delicious. My recipe for chocolate shortcrust pastry is a no-roll chocolate pie crust recipe that's perfect for not only Argentine desserts, but any desserts. If you're curious, keep watching. Making chocolate pastafrola dough is really easy. It starts off just like the normal recipe with 1.5 sticks of softened butter, to which I'm going to add 110 grams of sugar, half a cup. Then I'm going to cream the butter and the sugar together. Now that the butter and sugar are creamed together, I'm going to add 3 egg yolks, 3 large egg yolks, along with half a teaspoon of lemon extract, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1 teaspoon of lemon zest, the zest of about 1 large lemon. While also not forgetting 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a pinch of salt. Now it's time for the flour and the chocolate. I have 175 grams of flour, a little bit less than last time, with 75 grams of cocoa powder. So what I'm going to do is, just like with the normal recipe, if I add it all right now, it's going to go everywhere. I'm going to be covered in a cloud of flour and chocolate. So little by little I'm going to add them. Since the cocoa is kind of lumpy, I'm going to use a small strainer to sift the cocoa and the flour into the mixture. As I just said, this chocolate pie crust has less flour than my original shortcrust pastry does. That's because Argentine chefs have a formula for turning any pie crust or cake into a chocolate version. Weigh the flour in grams and then remove 30% of the flour and replace it with the same amount of unsweetened cocoa powder. So in the case of this recipe, 250 grams of flour, 30% of that is 75. So I took 75 grams of flour out of the original recipe and replaced that with 75 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder. Like I said, this Argentine trick can be applied to almost any recipe. The result is chocolatey without being bitter, so I think it will appeal to a lot of people. Even that was probably a little bit too much, so this time I'm not going to do quite as much. So I've made a lot of progress forming the dough. Just have a little bit of flour and chocolate left. However, as you can see, the dough is getting very, very thick. It's getting kind of clogged in with the beater, so I've been using this small knife to scrape it out. The chocolate is kind of dry, so you're probably going to have to add some extra liquid to this. If your batter is really dry, then what you could do is you could add water a little bit at a time, which is what I'm going to do, probably a teaspoon at a time. You could add milk, or if you're really feeling indulgent, you could add the extra half a stick of butter, softened. It's going to make it harder to roll out if you want to do it that way, I'm guessing because of the higher fat content. But if you want to use up a half a stick of butter, why not? So I'm going to add a teaspoon. Actually, I'm just going to add 2 teaspoons for now. And keep blending this that it comes together. Don't add too much water, because you can always add more, but you can't take away. See? There we go. So the dough finally came together. Not gonna lie, this was actually kind of a challenge. I had to scrape the beaters. I added a total of 3 tablespoons plus half a teaspoon of water, but I finally got it to come together. Now I'm going to wrap it in plastic, and if you're going to use it right away, chill it in the refrigerator for 30 to 60 minutes, maybe the freezer for about 30, so that the gluten has time to relax and the butter can get colder so that it's easier to work with. Or if you're going to wait to use it, wrap it and freeze it. Just like with my original shortcrust pastry, this chocolate pie crust is a no-roll pie crust, so all you have to do is just break off pieces of dough and press them into the pie plate. Break off pieces, put them into the mold. We're going to measure it to make sure that it is 1/2 centimeter thick once it is all in. I'm going to use about half of this ball of dough. When pressing the no-roll chocolate pie crust into the pie plate, don't forget to bring the dough up and along the sides as well. And if the dough starts to run off the side here, just take your knife, cut it off and put it where you need to add more. Let's check the depth with a ruler. Centimeter, 1/2 centimeter. Over here it's a bit thick, so I'm going to take some out. It's probably a bit thick over here too. Once you take out, just press it back down in again. Whether or not you use wax paper to roll out your chocolate pie crust, I wanted to share a tip I learned from Argentine chefs. Use a mixture of half unsweetened cocoa powder and half flour to roll out the dough, not just flour. Although flour is fine for the original shortcrust pastry recipe, this chocolate pie crust is a lot darker in color, so any flour that is not incorporated to the pie crust during the rolling process is going to turn into an ugly stain, an ugly white blotch once the pie is done. I know it sounds like a lot of quilombo, but it will help make your pastafrola even more presentable. It's the little things like that that can turn something from an A into an A+. This chocolate pie crust recipe is the crust that I used when I made my Nutella pastafrola. It was absolutely phenomenal, so don't miss the video. However, like I said at the beginning, this chocolate shortcrust pastry can be used in a lot of other desserts as well. For example, you could do a dulce de leche pastafrola with a chocolate crust. Dulce de leche and chocolate is always delicious. You could do chocolate crust with dulce de batata or sweet potato paste filling. I know it might sound odd if you live in the United States, and honestly it's not super common in Argentina either, but it's actually really good. You could also make a torta marquise, which is a brownie cake consisting of the chocolate crust on the bottom, the dulce de leche, and then either meringue or whipped cream on top. As you can see, this chocolate pie crust recipe is really versatile, so you'll be seeing it in the future. It's just another gem of Argentine cuisine. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also, for more information about Argentinian and Southern recipes, please visit my website, parnellthechef.com. And don't forget to follow me on social media. Once again, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.